Hey guys, it's Kevin here checking in with you before we get to this special interview, which was recorded live from the WERC conference this year. And I want to give a special shout out to our sponsor for this WERC series, Big Joe Forklifts. I wear their t-shirt, I use their LPT26, and I keep my mini Joey handy here on my desk to help me lift up any heavy notes, any post-it notes that I just can't handle myself. Now, for almost 75 years, Big Joe Forklifts, lithium-ion, walkie stackers, pallet trucks, and access vehicles have been the standard of quality in factories, warehouses, and DCs across North America. Engineered in Wisconsin, Big Joe is known for their rugged, easy-to-use designs that provide a low-cost alternative to traditional forklifts. And as I mentioned, I personally enjoy my LPT26 for moving pallets. For more product specs and more information, head to BigJoeForklifts.com. That's BigJoeForklifts.com, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Hey guys, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse podcast, and I'm recording episodes here at WERC 2024 in Dallas, Texas. And right now I'm going to be joined by Uma Taylor, who is the business development manager at Meiborg, which is a 3PL. She's going to tell us a little bit about them. And she's going to talk to us today about a little bit about her journey, which I think is pretty interesting into the logistics world. And also we're going to talk about custom bonded warehousing and dive into her knowledge on that and her expertise in the arena and how Meiborg is kind of tackling that as well. So Uma, it's a pleasure to have you here and for you to join me today.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely. Happy to have you on. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
It's a little hot down here.
It is hot in Texas.
It's
yeah,
really hot
for sure. Definitely.
And humid. But I'm having a good time at work, connecting with great people at this conference. It seems to be pretty beneficial for anybody in the warehousing industry to be here today.
Yeah.
And I hope everyone is. If you're not, well, take a flight and come over.
Yeah, don't miss out. I mean, this is the place to be for warehouse professionals for sure. So you're with Meiborg, which is a 3PL,
Sure.
but I'm sure, you have a better explanation of what you guys do. So give us kind of a brief overview of Meiborg and what it is that you're all about.
So Meiborg is a company that was started by our CEO, Zach Meiborg. His dad had a truck.
Yeah.
And
just one truck?
One truck.
Okay.
And then
interesting.
maybe he grew to 3 trucks.
Yeah.
And upon graduating, Zach decided to take over that business of 3 trucks.
Yeah.
And today he's grown it to 250 trucks.
Wow.
He has 600 trailers. He's opened up a warehouse in Rockford, Illinois, which is 1.2 million square foot, and another one in Houston with 700,000 square foot facility.
Oh, wow.
It's big, shiny, bright, happy-looking facility. I know it sounds weird, but every time I walk by, I hear the angels with their harps singing because it's so shiny.
Yeah.
We are a public warehouse, so anything can come in. We just have so many customers from so many different parts of the world and nationally as well that come over and, just tour our facility. And the next thing you know, they're like, we need to start bringing things over.
Yeah.
We have servers, we have solar panels, we have the most random things like sewing machines. So we have a ton of things just stored in our warehouse. So Meiborg has been around for 43 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's just growing. The people are great. Everyone in Meiborg is family. It is a family-run business.
Yeah.
So everyone is family. And I'm really appreciative for my general manager who hired me recently, Nick Gibbons. He saw the value in me, and he was like, Uma, you need to start working for us. And here I am with Meiborg 3PL. We do trucking, warehousing, 3PLs, basically anything you need us to do. If you need space in our warehouse just to set up shop, to change some microchips will allow you to do it.
Oh, wow. Okay. So kind of covering across the board there on logistical services. And I think it's pretty interesting, too, to see that growth of the company. But I'm curious, too, a little bit. I mean, we met yesterday for the first time, right? And we caught up a little bit, learned about each other. And your journey is pretty interesting to getting into logistics to where you are now. So I'm curious if you could share with us a little bit about, how you kind of found yourself in the logistics industry.
Never in my wildest dream I thought
Yeah.
I would be a trucking and warehousing person. Seems like a very manly industry, and I
Okay.
think I'm kind of pretty for that. I'm just joking. So I've always been a governmental person. Done advocacies, compliance. So I'm Malaysian, and I used to work for the Malaysian government, promoting investments into Malaysia, advocating for them. Just little things like trying to allow a local bank, an American banking company, to set up shop in Malaysia, which is an Islamic country.
Yeah.
And trying to go through all this halal Islamic financing. I used to advocate for them, and I've been really successful. I've closed like $1 billion aviation deals and things like that. So once, after being in the Malaysian government for a bit, I was noticed by a U.S. government official,
Okay.
and he came up. He's like, "Would you like to come and work for us?" And I'm like, I guess. I've never been asked, but all
Yeah.
right, let's start with that. And I started working for the U.S. Department of Commerce, and
Okay.
I started speaking to a lot of American companies, promoting American exports, and then signing deals with the president next to me, and
Yeah, we
felt a
saw
little-
your LinkedIn, right? Your little header picture is right next to Obama, so it was very interesting. Yeah.
It was a great journey. It was the best job that I've ever had. Of course, years later, I fell in love and moved to Houston
Okay.
and couldn't get a job.
Yeah.
It was so funny. I struggled to get a job, actually.
Wow.
So started off as a freight cashier in a trucking company, $14 an hour. That was where I started.
Yeah.
But I guess they valued me and they saw what I could do, and then moved me to billing and then import, exports, distribution. Next thing you know, I was supervisor running a team in the warehouse.
Okay.
And I understood the operational part, and I guess my previous company saw that as an added benefit, and decided to put me as put my face out there, being the face of the company, promoting the company, speaking to our current customers, and trying to get new customers as well. And once that was done, I was just going around trying to make partnerships, create partnerships between other places, because my previous company, we didn't have a lot of space, so we were trying to look for other warehouses, trying to go out there, trying to get more space, and that's how I bumped into my current supervisor,
Okay.
Nick Gibbons, and he was like, "Uma, what would it take for you to work for us?"
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up with Meiborg. And I am still the compliance person, trying to set up this whole facility, ensure that it's compliant, and working with customs in and out. And we have a consultant that helps us as well, Blue Tiger International. And this is what I do. Now I'm just out here in work trying to meet people,
Yeah.
trying to see how I can help them. That's the other thing. I do not want to just look for clients and customers. I'm here trying to figure out how I can help someone move their goods, how I can help someone. That
Yeah.
is my mentality, instead of just trying to make money. You
Yeah,
know?
just transactional, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so interesting, and I love the story. I think it's very interesting, too. I mean, you have doing these great deals and working for the government and all these things, and then you come here and, you're struggling to find a job. So, I mean, I'm curious, what advice would you give to people that, are maybe having some of the similar challenges or trying to just push through within the logistics industry in general? I mean, what advice would you give them?
Do your homework. Always research. If you are a new graduate, I deal with students a lot. I sit on the board of Institute of Supply Management, and I speak to a lot of students on an everyday struggle of trying to get a job or trying to get an internship, and I'm like, start from the bottom, and that's what I did.
Yeah.
Starting from the bottom, it does help, because me being a freight cashier at the very beginning, I understood how a company works. I understood how the accounting system worked. And then eventually going in and just as an import clerk, receiving freight at the window, I understood the process. I understood what truck is needed. So you do not have to just go in and try to get a managerial position.
Right.
Start from the bottom, and it will just make you a better manager, because you will understand what your team is going through as well, as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's such great advice, because you do learn so much from being on the floor, essentially, right? And getting that experience and understanding those operational kind of nuances and things in between really help you be a better leader in the end, because you understand what the people that are reporting to you are going through, basically. So I think that's great advice there. So very interesting to learn about your journey and learn about Meiborg, but I think we're gonna do some educational today here too as well, because you're very knowledgeable on custom bonded warehousing, right? So tell us a little bit. I guess let's start very high level. Like what is custom bonded warehousing?
So custom bonded warehousing is basically a freight station that you can bring items that are not cleared by customs into that facility. That way you do not have to worry about all the rent for your equipment and things like that, because you can just bring it over there, everything gets stripped out, and it can just stay there for a couple of days before it gets cleared.
Right.
Bringing a container that is bonded, you can hold it in the warehouse for about 10 days, 10 to 15 days. And once that 15 days hit, you'll have to contact another warehouse or another facility that is basically like a customs exam station, or someone that has a customs approval to hold these goods past those days. So it'll go to generally a thing called general order, and customs will decide either to auction it off or destroy that item.
Oh, okay.
And if you want it to stay past 10 days and you do not want customs to take possession of it, it will go into another area, which will typically be caged, and everything beyond that cage is owned by customs for the next 5 years. You do not have to clear, you do not have to pay for your taxes until you basically sell the products, and when you clear it, you pay taxes to get it out of the cage. You can hold that item for 5 years.
Gotcha.
So a lot of people are doing that right now because they feel it's more beneficial for the company to do such things. Reason being because you don't know who's going to want that product.
Right.
And it's better to just keep it there. Once you have customers, you bring it out and sell it. The most common goods behind that cage right now is solar panels.
Really? Interesting. Okay.
And also, the other issue with that is a lot of solar panels are not getting cleared these days as well. And
what's the reason for that? I'm curious.
Well, the reason is it's been flagged recently, and there's a lot of red flags on it saying that there's forced labor, child labor behind it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And so customs, they're actually combing through everything. They're looking through time cards. They're looking through payroll, employee list. So we've got documents 3 inches thick,
right,
being submitted to customs just for one shipment that comes in. And it's really difficult to see that because the warehouse, this is one of the risks being custom bonded warehouse, you do not know what's going to happen to that freight if it's being held by customs. So you don't know if it's going to be cleared, and if it doesn't get cleared, then what? Is it going to be an unbillable freight at your location? What are you going to do with it? the other option for something like that, a lot of warehouses are doing these days, they are re-exporting it out. So instead of trying to bring it in because they cannot clear it, they're just sending it out to another country that doesn't have those rules and they typically don't care.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So besides being flagged by customs, they also have a quota for certain amount of things that can come in and per year. And if it reaches that quota, it goes to a bonded facility until it can get cleared.
Interesting. So I'm curious. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of challenges with customs and making sure that you can get your products in and then ultimately sell them, right? Which is the goal, right? But I mean, I guess how frequently or how often is this happening? I mean, should someone that's importing goods from another country, whether it's solar panels or something else, I mean, should they be aligned with a custom bonded warehouse just strategically?
They should. I think people from overseas we've been having a lot of people from China reaching out to us recently. I've been taking calls at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to talk to people because they feel like this is the best solution because you just never know what's gonna come in and get held behind. We even have things like trophies, like those huge stuffed animals, from Africa that come in, and it's being held because FDA is not sure if it was even legal to bring these items in. So they would come over to make sure, like the animals that they shot and stuffed and shipped over, is not like on an endangered list or anything like that. So we have a lot of weird items coming in and out in a public warehouse. So I think working with a custom bonded facility is beneficial for everybody because it will definitely save you a lot of heartache and you don't have to rush to try to get things cleared immediately. You just have to go through the process with customs and rest be assured your items are still safe in a facility where it's secured.
Interesting. Yeah. I think it's very interesting because I think it's interesting that they're sending these animals too. I guess that's like pretty interesting to open the doors and see that on a container, right? But I mean, I guess so if you're not taking your goods to a custom bonded warehouse to be stored there until they're cleared, if they get cleared at some point, I mean, what's the alternative? I mean, is there an alternative for?
No, if you move something that's not customs cleared to a regular warehouse, you can get fined. I've heard fines up to $100,000. So
decent fine. Yeah.
Yes, you get a lot. You get hefty fines. And also note that once you get fined, you are literally on a microscopic mirror.
Yeah, everything you're doing, they're watching.
Everything, they're watching everything. Also, being somebody from a custom bonded warehouse, we have to comply and follow the regs and ensure that everything we do is 100% by the books. The moment we don't, if we ship something out incorrectly, if they tell us, oh, I'm releasing 4 items and we ship out 5 items instead, we can get fined too. So we have to be very thorough, and that's why we have the best staff. Everyone has to be literally OCD at work, and you cannot just switch numbers. It's really difficult. If you do something like that, the company's in trouble. Yeah,
absolutely. And I imagine your processes need to be very solid. So I'm curious, like, how do you manage that in the warehouse and in the operation? I mean, how do you ensure like that the processes are getting followed to the T every time?
Every customer is different. And the thing about Meiborg, or the companies I've worked for specifically, I ensure that I'm the first one to go through that process when I receive a customer. I would look and see what it is that is required by the customer first, because every customer will always want to feel like that they are your only customer. And you want to have that little personal touch as well. So you go through the process first, try to understand what is needed and what can be done to eliminate errors. And once you do that, and of course there'll be trial and error, probably the first 2 times, maybe 3, and then you come up with your own SOP. And when you come up with your SOP and it's strong enough, from receiving, so someone opens the container, they receive it, someone confirms it, this is what we've received, and then their supervisor verifies it, and then it goes into the office, and the clerk looks at it, and they're putting it down, and then their supervisor is verifying it. You need at least 4 times. You need it to be verified at least 4 times before literally telling the customer, like, hey, we have this.
Yeah.
You know, because count is so important.
Oh yeah.
And you just cannot make errors, especially in a custom bonded facility. You cannot slack off.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think it's, I mean, with any process, right, it's good to make sure your process is solid, but especially in this scenario, I mean, where you can get, fined and potentially be damaging to that part of your business, not only for yourself, but then also for your customer too, who's trusting you to do the right thing. It's so important to be able to manage that process and be able to have it solid. So I think it's great advice there that you've given, in terms of having those kind of four sign-offs, 4 checkpoints before you can say, like, okay, this process is good to go and we can do this right every time. So I think it's very interesting, this different kind of side of the warehouse where it's custom bonded. So if we look at this, I mean, because, is there an option to hold that product at the port or like within the container? I mean, what's the balance there in terms of like cost or efficiency by bringing this product into a custom bonded warehouse?
Well, if you leave it in a port, say something comes in and we have been notified that it's been flagged. If you want to leave it, that's your choice. But think about the storage, the demurrage that you have to pay to the port, the container, the chassis rentals. It will rack up your price. So moving it to a bonded facility, you'll be saving so much more. And then because with the ports, they're open from Mondays to Fridays. Yeah. But they will still bill you for Saturday and Sunday for storage as well.
Yeah, it's still sitting there. Yeah.
And so it's best to just bring it over to a bonded facility. And there, unfortunately, not many in the nation, but it's good to find one close to you and create a relationship with them, because you never know, you may be in a bind someday and you will need them. So just reach out to us, reach out to any custom bonded facility. We work with all of them as well. The other thing about competition, my competitions are my friends. We go golfing.
That's good.
We hang out. We have coffee. We have lunches, because there's just so much to go around, and nobody understands that. Everybody's trying to keep everything to themselves. Right. But when I have a lead and I cannot handle it, if it's too much for me, I find another person, like, hey, can you work with us? And they do the same thing, because we are a bigger warehouse. So a lot of people come to us as well, like, hey, we have this, do you want it? Yeah. So you just work with each other, all the time. And that's the best way to be. I mean, we're all human. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
Spread some love instead of hatred around.
Yeah, I like that. I like that sentiment. I mean, I think I agree with you. I mean, there's so much happening. Like, there's so much to spread around. And, if you can help somebody and then they can help you in turn in the future, I mean, it's a great relationship to have and a great perspective to have on your competition. So I'm curious, too, you mentioned in there that there's very few custom bonded warehouses. I mean, what's the reason for that, and why is it important to make sure you're getting with the right one?
Well, number one, all custom bonded warehouses are also known by the customs officials, right? And they work really closely with us. At first, we were kind of leery whenever we see a customs vehicle pull up. Yeah. But then eventually we realized they're actually there to help us. Being custom bonded, a custom bonded facility, they always tell us, like, y'all are our eyes and ears. But in order for you to get that relationship with them, you need to be very thorough. You need to be by the books. The reason that people do not do this is because a lot of times they cannot comply. It gets a little difficult. And also the paperwork that goes into it. You have to file so many different. You literally need to do background checks on everyone in your warehouse, whoever's in your warehouse, not just the people on the docks, but people in your office as well.
Everybody.
So
Yeah.
everyone. And it could be the slightest thing. You cannot have a little criminal charge. You may
Yeah.
not be able to get it. So a lot of issues with that, and I think that's why people are kind of leery about doing it. I mean, we've had this granites that came in once, and we were like, oh, okay, it's granites that they were going to use for tables.
Yeah.
But they stuffed little tea bags in between those granites. A non-custom bonded warehouse probably would have said, okay, we don't care.
Yeah.
But a customs bonded warehouse, you have to count every piece. You have to report every piece. And the moment there is an overage or there's something weird about it, you immediately need to report to customs and this steamship line. And you need to do something called a manipulation discrepancy report, where you need an approval from customs saying that these things came in. And even if something comes in and doesn't have a stamp like made in China, and customs will not clear that. But as a custom bonded warehouse, you can work with your customer, and your customer can say, hey, we need this stamp on that. Can you print it? We can, but you need to tell customers first that we're going to mess with you.
That you're going to do it here.
We're going to do this. And once we get the approval, we can put the stamp on and everything, and then customers will probably approve it.
Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very, very interesting. Obviously, a lot of different layers to it to make sure that you're thorough and understand that. So I think it's pretty understandable why there's only just a select number of warehouses that are custom bonded. And, I think having those processes aligned is such a great thing to be able to do for a normal operation. And then for custom bonded, I mean, has to be done, which is great. So it's been great to learn from you here today and learn more about custom bonded warehouses and your journey too, which I think is super interesting. And also Meiborg as well. So if people are interested, maybe they need custom bonded warehousing needs or just 3PL needs in general, what's the best way to get in touch with Meiborg?
I'm on LinkedIn.
Okay.
First name Uma, last name Taylor. Or you can email me at Taylor@Meiborg Inc. MEIBORGINC.com. And you can reach out to me anytime you want. I will be there. I have my phone with me 24/7.
Okay. All right.
So hence dealing with people from overseas. That's what I do. Just let me know, and we will take you and do whatever you want to do. We'll be there to support you in every way you need us to. So just reach out to us.
All right, great. And we'll definitely put all that information at thenewwarehouse.com as well, so people can easily find it. So, Uma, thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for teaching us all about custom bonded warehousing.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's video here on our YouTube channel, The New Warehouse Podcast, and I appreciate you tuning in. If you liked what you saw, make sure you subscribe to our channel, and if you like this video in particular, make sure you like it as well. And if you want to get this great t-shirt that you see in the video behind me, Warehouses Are Sexy, head to warehousesAreSexy.com and get your own.